what's going on with AI, with copywriting, and how does this affect you as a business owner? I wanted to record this short video just to talk to you about AI and it creating written content for you. You've probably heard lots about this new Chat GPT and also Bard, which is the new version brought out by Google, and I was quite excited to actually be invited to try it. Now that might surprise you, as you may also have seen some sort of feedback from content writers, copywriters saying about how, AI is not the way forward and it's not what you want to be doing. So I thought I'd just share my thoughts as a content writer and also just explore some of the pros and cons of what I think AI written content can offer you. In terms of my thoughts, the first thing I thought of was how can I stand in the way of technology advancement? Because that is, after all, what this AI technology is. I'm sure if I stood in front of a graphic designer and told them, and said, oh yeah, no, I don't support Canva, which I know I use. What about a photographer who once upon a time, they were the only ones with these really high quality cameras, and yet now we all walk around with great cameras, great video recording equipment in our pockets in terms of our phones. And even accountants, once upon a time that was totally their area. They dominated any form of bookkeeping, etc. And yet now there is amazing accounting software such as Xero, which does a lot, for us and on behalf of the accountant themselves. So what does that mean? Well, to me, that means we've got to adapt. And that's what those business owners have done. That is what graphic designers, they start to use things that actually allow us to use Canva with their amazing designs. Similarly, an accountant will teach you how to get the most out of your accounting software. And so I, as a content writer, that's what I want to do in terms of AI. I want to help you to use it in the best possible way for yourself. So, what are the advantages of using AI written content? Well, first of all, I think it can be really helpful for getting rid of that, what I call the blank page phobia. So it's that horrible feeling when you sit down and perhaps you've got to write a blog or even coming up with some ideas for social media and you just can't think of anything. And there's just a whole blank page which you feel under pressure to fill. Popping some of the prompts and ideas into an AI and getting some written content out to give you a basis to start from, well, that sounds great to me. I'm all about reducing that overwhelm, and this seems like a good way to start. I think the other thing to say is, from what I've seen and what I've read about it, as well as some of the bits that I've tried, it actually is quite good quality. It would break my heart if people were kind of being hoodwinked into using this technology only for the output to actually be pretty poor. So again, that's a real pro that shows that they are creating something that's going to probably be, good now, but only get better and better. So that sounds good to me. Again, I'd rather something was good quality and not going to cause you hassle or, is a time waster essentially, and it is just a gimmick. And the other pro I came up with, you might laugh, is that I'm delighted to think that people out there are putting in time and energy and effort into the innovation of written content. That means the written word is still really, really important. And I've had, lived in an echo chamber of being told how video and imagery and things like that, the world of TikTok is going to take over. But actually, no. The likes of Google, the likes of Microsoft are seeing that the written word has a real place and is still really important, and especially, I think, for business owners. So what are the cons for you guys for using some kind of AI and this AI written content? My biggest concern right now is I just cannot get my head around the copyright issue. Who owns the content that you produce through the AI? Is it okay just to label something as written by you? And how long, how does that feel? One of the first things that came up with Bard when they invited me to use it was they said something about start writing your own novel. And I thought, could we get to a stage where books are, it says my name is the author, but actually a lot of it was generated by AI. And I don't know how I fit with that or how that sits with me, I suppose. I looked into it just to see from a legal point of view whether you have to state, how much was AI generated, whether it's a percentage, whether you need to declare it or anything like that. A bit like we ended up with social media with having the hashtag ad. And it's really, really unclear and murky at the moment about that. So I just think something doesn't quite sit right with me at the moment, and that we need to get to the bottom of. And that leads me nicely onto my second con, which is I really am quite concerned about people being inadvertently misled, and also perhaps the content being inadvertently damaging as well. And I suppose this comes back to, the whole thing with AI generated content is that if you are going to put your name across it, and you are going to take responsibility for it ultimately, so please make sure that it is not going to be damaging to your brand, that the actual words in there, the physical content, is accurate, is not not misguided, it's not going to cause anyone any form of harm or offense or anything like that. And also, one of the things that I have been told so far is that some of the content that's generated is not necessarily most up to date. So if you were ever using it in some kind of health and safety element, any format, making sure that you are giving out the most up-to-date advice and cross-checking and cross-referencing anything that the AI content has generated in that space. I also hate the idea that it would be, as I say, inadvertently misleading to people buying from other businesses. So, for example, the example that straight away came to my mind is, what if you just went away and you generated a whole load of blogs and you marketed yourself as a blog writer? It's not really, those blogs were not written by you, they were done by AI. Again, if it states, yes, these are AI generated and I did the editing and I did the, that's fine. But I would absolutely hate that anyone could be hoodwinked by the AI content and therefore, paying for something that's actually been AI generated when what you really wanted was an expert in that field. So there's another con for you that I think just keep an eye out and be very aware of what, just like all internet content now, what is actually authentic and real and what may be AI generated. And then the last point, I suppose the last con that I want to put out there for you as business owners is just consider how time effective it actually is using any app or AI generation technology. When you start out, if you're just putting in a one question and it's coming out with something, 5 tips on or 3 ideas for, that's a bit different. But when it's asking you to put in more information, to add more prompts, you may well even be going away and doing a bit of your own research. And vice versa, at the end, when you've got the content generated for you, how much time are you going through and checking it and editing it and reworking it so that it sounds more in keeping with your voice, for example? Keep a check of how much time that's actually taking you. Because I saw one example of someone saying that actually by the time they'd done all that and they were really happy with the content, they could have just planned it out, done the research and written it up themselves in a shorter amount of time. And I thought that was really interesting. So as I say, making sure that this, the use of the AI technology is actually time effective for your business and creates content that genuinely will work hard for you. There are so many unknowns with the AI at the moment. We don't really know how it's affecting search engine optimizations and what it's going to do to your website. And I'd hate for anyone to be penalised long term and things like that. As I say, there are advantages. There are good things it's going to do. It's going to get rid of that blank page phobia. It could be a great source of content ideas. So go on, explore it. I'm definitely encouraging you to do so. And in return, I'm going to be working hard to make sure that I can help you. I'll be going back to my roots, I think, and sort of teaching people how to edit, how to check, how to really proof the content to make sure that it is good quality and that you are happy to put your name to it. I hope that was an helpful insight. I'd love your thoughts, get in touch with me, share your comments below. I'd love to hear what you think about the future of AI and written content too.